join. So good morning, Nietzsche. Good morning, Kat's Dance Mom. Cassandra Rob, what's up? Tanya's Treasures, good morning. Gia's Sweet Briar Cottage, good morning. Legacy Collection, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Cassandra Rob. Little Squirrel 506, good morning. How are you doing? Is it Little Squirrel, Mama Squirrel? Good morning, Mama's Drama. How are you? Good morning. Welcome in. I am going to do a giveaway at the very end. It's Little Squirrel. Hey, Little Squirrel. I just got to check. You never know. I have these vinyl stickers with elbows up. I'm going to give one away today at the end of my show. So, Mitch Vamp. Oh my God. The clothes are so cute. They're all hung up already. So I was going to wear one of the things and then I was like, no, I want to wait. You're at the Tim's in Fort Perry. Here you go. Ting. And there's Crazy Tim's, just as you say that. Good morning, Crazy Tim's. How are you? Oh, I'm so happy. Mitch Vamp, by the way, everyone. Correct. Yeah. Mitch Vamp, everyone, by the way, is an awesome Canadian seller who did this personal shopping experience where you would just give her your size and then she would fill a bag with clothes that you would like and sends it to you. And it's like Christmas. It's like freaking Christmas. Oh, don't worry about the red chat, Little Squirrel. So red chat asked, we are not going to be able to use PayPal as a payout option anymore. Correct. Yes. So in my show notes, I have a brief explanation. It's Stripe, Little Squirrel, or Stripe. Or you can use Stripe. It basically connects it to your bank account. So it just goes straight into your bank account. There's less fees in that. It takes 3 days to go in. So you do have to wait, but it's free. I will miss the feature that I had with PayPal where I would pay them a little bit of money to have my money come to me right away. But, that's not a smart business move. I should just wait, but I don't know. Well, you and Terry have really great taste, Mitch Vamp, because they were all fun stuff. I love it. I love it. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it again. Next time you do it, I'm going to do it again. Because, yeah, not that I need more tops, but I need more tops and other clothes. Not that I need them. I'm trying to shrink. So maybe next time you do it, I'll be small enough to say, let's do it in a different size. Yes, I do like a lot of fun stuff. I like different stuff. When I was younger, I would never have worn silly glasses. I would have worn very muted colors. Just a lot of blue, no red. I would never have worn red. But I think when you get to a certain age, you no longer give a flying forkaroonie what other people think. And that's the stage I'm at. I no longer care. I will walk around in my silly, I have a whole bunch of silly pants with unicorns and puppies and stuff on them. And I don't care. I don't care. Liberty Tree Designs Co. Good morning. How are you? Good morning, Melody. How are you? Jedi Jim. Good morning. May the force be with you. Are you supposed to use one hand or two hands? How does it work? That didn't look right. Pac-Man Girl. Good morning. How are you? I'm trying to figure out how to be a Jedi with them. Or do you just use mind tricks? You will have a great experience on Whatnot today. Amy Liz Biz, good morning. Good morning. I'm being weird this morning. So hello to everyone who's on YouTube and Twitch. Hello. Come on over. There's a QR code somewhere at the top here. If you're live, come on over and join the chat over here on Whatnot. We have a lot of fun together. And you can ask your questions directly to me on Whatnot. I don't get a chance to go over there and also watch that too. The chat is always so busy on this side. So what is going on over here? I am officially one of those nosy neighbors now. Because our street is a cul-de-sac, not a lot of things nothing happens on our street. So when something happens on our street, there is a dump truck that just drove by with gravel in it. Oh, gasp. If I was my mom, I would already be out the door and up the street asking them what they were doing and why they were doing it. Amy Lisbeth says, good morning. I like weird. I love that. Ms. Chris, this and that. How are you? Sutters, sorry. Sutter's Landing. Good morning. How are you? Ooh, Pac-Man says I'm working on a rooster painting and decided for you. Oh, I'm excited. I can't wait to buy it. I'm just gonna buy it. Little Squirrel's been in and out, but Little Squirrel's been busy. So is Big Squirrel, I assume. Do Americans know what a cul-de-sac is? Oh, good question. Do y'all have cul-de-sacs, or what do you call them when the street just... Okay, Julie Becker. Good morning, Julie. Melody asked the question. I'm like, I don't know. Good morning, Julie. Everyone, please follow my beautiful friend, Julie Becker, who does amazing chat shows throughout. And did you already do your shipping show, or is that still coming up? Cassandra Robb says, I live in one. There you go. So there you go, Melody. They do have cul-de-sacs, and they call them cul-de-sacs, and they probably wonder why they call them that, because it's a really kind of strange name if you don't know French. Oh, Julie Becker says, I already did my official shipping show. I have another one tonight. Okay, so if you have questions about shipping, you need to bookmark Julie Becker's show tonight, especially if you're a U.S. seller, because Canadian shipping is a little bit simpler than U.S. shipping. Our shipping is pretty simple, relatively, compared to the U.S. I mean, I think once you learn the system of what not shipping in the U.S., it's pretty easy. So, and Cassandra Robb says, Julie Becker, I love your shows. Very educational. Yay. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Little Squirrel says, I hope to be back selling by May. I hope so too. I love you. I hope everything is going well. Sutter, why do I keep saying stutter? Sutter's Landing says, real question is, do Canadians have rotaries? Like, what do we call them? Oh my God. Like where the turning thing. Can't remember the name of it. Roundabouts. Thank you, Liberty Tree Design. How I measure an envelope, the thickness. How do you measure the envelope? Just literally hold up, find the deepest end, and then use your ruler and go like this. And I add a smidge on just in case. Roundabouts, circular road thingy. Yes, we do have roundabouts. We call them roundabouts because you go round about them if you go all the way around. Which, when I was in Dublin, this is a very long time ago. This was like 1999. I was in Dublin, and I took the Dublin bus company, probably still does it, but they had a tour that you could take on one of the Dublin buses that would take you around. And the guy who was the tour guide was clearly like 2 minutes away from retirement, so he didn't give a flying you know what. And so he was like doing all this crazy stuff and he would announce it over the PA, like, I'm not really supposed to do this, but I'm about to be retired, so I don't care anymore. So we're going to have some fun today. And we were going down south of Dublin to what's known as the Irish Riviera, where like Bono has his home and stuff. And we were doing a tour there. So we would get to a roundabout, and he would be talking about, in the middle of some of the roundabouts, they actually have the old stones, the old stones. Some of them are actually Celtic that were like way markers. And so there was this one, and he wanted to make sure that we all saw it. So we drove around the roundabout in this big bus 3 times. This poor lady was pushing a pram, and the look on her face was like, what is wrong with this bus that it just keeps going round and round and round the roundabout? And then he took us on a road past Bono's house, but the road is a very narrow road, and you're not actually supposed to drive a bus on it. It's a very, very narrow road, and these buses are a little too wide, and we had to go along them. He drove along it when we're not supposed to have buses on it, and it's a 2-way street. So like he had to push the bus all the way to the edge of this it was a stone walls were along one side. He pushed us all the way along it so that we were scraping the side of the bus as he's saying, I'm going to be retired soon. No big deal. And we actually passed right by, like he slowed down so we could see Bono's house. I have not done the Ring of Kerry. No, that sounds like fun. Oh, it was totally National Lampoon. I was like dying of laughter the entire time. He also said when we stopped at this tea house on the top of a hill somewhere, I don't know. We stopped at a tea house and we had tea because, you know, you're supposed to do that when you're in that area of the world. And he said, like, this bus is leaving at X time. If you're not on this bus, I'm leaving without you. And he literally like drove off with like four people still stuck because he was like, I'm leaving because we have to go illegally drive down a road that you're not supposed to with a big ass bus. Okay. Do 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 do. Yes, congratulations, little squirrel. We're very excited for you. But yeah, hey, afternoon, Antico. It's morning. What the fork are you doing up? Good morning. Did you have a bad night's sleep? Afternoon Antico is called Afternoon Antico because she stays up late and then of course sleeps. Hopefully a regular time. After everyone follow my friend Afternoon Antico, who's a mod today, but also just an amazing person in general. Pac-Man Girl asks, how did you decide on the Red Rooster name? My dad decided on the Red Rooster name, and I really don't know where his thing was about red roosters. We did end up having Rhode Island Reds, but we never actually had a rooster because they're too noisy. So he said that he didn't need that. We didn't. So we had chickens. We had Rhode Island Red chickens, but we didn't. But yeah, he picked that because he was doing clock making. He took a cabinetry course, so he was doing clock making and then he learned antique clock repair. My father was probably undiagnosed ADHD, and a little bit of bipolar and a few other things mixed in for good fun. And so he always was looking for another hobby and another thing to get like deep dive into. And then as soon as he knew everything, he got bored. That's my father. That was my father. I guess it still is because he's still like that is. Anyways, so that's where I get it from. I get the name and I get how crazy I am from my father. Thanks, Dad. Love you so much. Don't know which way to look. Liberty Tree Design says the roads in Ireland, it's insane, so narrow. It's like, it's beautiful there. It is really beautiful there. The people are really nice. Because I was on my own, I didn't go out at night, so I didn't get to see the pubs and that at night. I wanted to, but then I was also way too nervous. I was really young. Relatively speaking, I was young. I was like 20, I don't know. I was in my 20s. I was not in my 30s yet, and I didn't feel comfortable being by myself. But I stayed in this really awesome hostel right in the middle of Dublin. And that hostel still exists. And my daughter stayed there too when she went just before the pandemic or after the pandemic. She went to Ireland and she stayed there. Jen's Attic Treasures, good morning. Darling Mook, good morning. How are you? Oh, Afternoon Antico says, I had a stress test this morning. Result, you're stressed. Oh dear. Oh my goodness. Well, hopefully they're going to get you some more freaking answers. I'm so tired of you not having answers. So yeah, so I'm the red. We're called the Red Rooster because that's just what Dad had, and I liked it. I always liked it. I don't know why. I just kind of liked it, the Red Rooster, and he had its shop with SHOPPE. So I still have from this. I have like from the 70s letterhead still of the Red Rooster shop. I only have a few pages left, so I'm gonna have to frame it or something. Pac-Man Girl says, none of my other shows work out. I stamped in only collectibles. Oh, okay. Tell us more. After Nico says the answer was, I don't know. Fork. Dixie, Norma's, good morning. Lynn, Cha, and Tammy, good morning. So feel free to share your shows. Feel free to ask questions. I'm going to do a brief public service announcement about the Canadian changes. So Americans, just hang on for a second. You might be interested to hear about this, just to, feel some Canadian. We're having some changes in Canada. Canada is finally moving, Canadian sellers Canadian sellers are finally going to be moving over completely to Canadian dollar selling. So that starts on at 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. They're going to start to do the transition on April 15th. So if you are a Canadian seller and you have a show on April 15th, uh, that morning of April 15th, please stop your show by about 4:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and please give them an hour or so. So I'd say like 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on the 15th. Again, this is just for Canadian sellers. Give them that space of time to do the transition. We will All Canadian sellers are going to have to um, switch. We are going to be just switched over to selling in Canadian dollars. All of your items that are, for example, this True North Strong Raid Terrain little thing that I have here that says $99, that will go to probably like $138 Canadian. So it will go, yes, from US dollars to Canadian dollars. So it will automatically convert to the dollar amount that works with the conversion on that date. So and then you can go in and edit it. So so yeah, it will be converted from US dollars to Canadian dollars automatically, and then you can adjust as you want to, but it will automatically convert it. So you don't have to do that. It is going to be a change, and change always is hard. However, yes, all items that you have listed in your store, your marketplace, your bin, your auction, in your drafts, everything will get converted to Canadian dollars and it's going to get converted by the financial exchange. Okay, it's not going to say, like, when this converts down below, it's not going to say Canadian dollars $99. It will be like $138 Canadian. So, and for what they're saying is that for US buyers, what you're going to see when you're in a Canadian show is you will see, like, for example, here you would see 138 Canadian and then in brackets US $99. Yeah, Melody, when you list in the future, you are going to be selling in Canadian dollars starting April 15th. For now, just leave it. If anything you list, put it in US dollars. Good morning, Pickies. How are you? Good morning, Pickles. Angie, good morning. How are you doing? So, let me see if I can try to find all of your questions and answer them as quickly as I can. I did do a deeper dive into this yesterday. So if you go to my YouTube and which the information is um, in my show notes, which is over here, and also in my profile, there's a link you can copy and type in. So the reason that they're changing is that Canadians need to be more in line with the rest of the world. So, for example, if I'm buying something from the UK or France or Spain or the Netherlands or Australia, I'm buying in their local currency on Whatnot. When Whatnot added Canada on, um, they didn't they didn't do that. They kept us at US dollars. And yeah, it is a lot. It feels so much better when you like do a sale and you sell like $100 worth of stuff, and then you get that payout and you convert it into Canadian dollars and put it in your bank account. Minus, of course, the fees. The financial transaction fees are a pain in the butt. So at the end of the day, when we charge $10 US, we're really charging $14 Canadian. So, Angie, that's a good question. Are you trying on your phone or on the web? If you can let me know. So it also has been a huge stumbling block for building Whatnot Canada, because Canadians are used to buying in Canadian dollars. And even if they go to like Amazon or whatever, they're going to see Canadian dollars. When they go onto eBay, they see the Canadian dollars, right? They may see a conversion, but if they go to ebay.ca, they see Canadian dollars. Canadians prefer to buy in their own currency. Okay, Angie, I would suggest messaging seller support for sure. Because I mean, you've got a few more days, so you should be okay. Good morning, Peacock. How are you? Natty loves you. Good morning. Thrifty Dragonfly. Good morning. Black Metal. Good morning. Okay, so I can tell you that of the people that I have referred to Whatnot, 99% of them went on the app and or if I showed them the app, they immediately said, "Oh, it's all in US dollars." And I was like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Oh." Okay. People don't like to math. Canadians don't like to math. So they want to go into a Canadian show and buy in Canadian dollars. It's a big stumbling block. Because people are afraid of the extra transaction fees there are when you buy with your credit card in US dollars. The the credit card company charges you for the financial transfer of that over to Canadian dollars, the conversion rate. You get charged. So with this, our Canadian buyers will no longer get charged a conversion rate. Our US buyers will. I'm sorry, but um it's a necessary thing to do in order for us to move forward with Whatnot Canada. They are doing more in Whatnot now. Whatnot Canada is doing more. In fact, at the Toronto Sports Card Show this month in April, they are going to be there. So if any of you want to meet up and get together, let me know and we'll meet up. It's at the International Center. It's technically in Mississauga. It's the Toronto Sports Card Show. It's happening, like, I have it up there, April 24th to 27th or something like that. Um, so Pac-Man Girl, it's just the only way we can build Whatnot Canada is to be in Canadian dollars. We need to build Whatnot Canada. We're scaring away buyers, and we need to build it. We need to have more local people. Pay Tribute Canada, good morning. So, if you if you look at the email that you received, there's an FAQ there. Yesterday, I read through the FAQ. It's on my YouTube page. You go to my lives and you'll see it on there from yesterday. You can watch the beginning of it. We're not going to scare away US buyers. US buyers were already coming in and getting scared away previously with our bad shipping that we had. They fixed the shipping. The shipping is much better. In fact, with Canada Post, um, it's cheaper to ship a small package to the United States than it is within Canada because Canada's really big. So where I don't think US buyers are going to get scared away. We are going to lose some people because good morning Mimics. Good morning Kim's bookshelf. How are you? Pamela, good morning. I think I already said hi to you, but hello again. DTP cards, good morning. And Rhino or Reno. Renob. Reno, I don't know. Good morning, Mimics. You swiped out. Ah! So I think there will be some, because PayPal is not going to be available in Canada for buying. Some of your buyers are not going to be willing to add a different type of payment system to their Whatnot account. That is a reality. But so if you currently use PayPal to purchase in Canadian shows, April 15th, that's going to be going away. You will no longer be able to buy using PayPal. However, I think that PayPal has been an issue for Whatnot for a while because of all the chargebacks that they get of people who, they have buyer's remorse and then they make a complaint. Whatnot's been dealing with all that and not involving us because it's a payment processing thing. I think that they want to get away from that because PayPal sides on the buyer, even if the buyer is totally incorrect. It's the reason too that no matter where you are, no matter what show you're in, if you try to do a tip in PayPal, it won't let you. If you try to use your PayPal to do a gift to chat, it won't let you. And that's because people were tipping and then going to PayPal and saying, I didn't do that, or I didn't get anything from that. So yeah, in the terms of service it says no chargebacks, but PayPal still will side with them, right? And then also people were doing they were doing chargebacks. So Pac-Man Girl, it has nothing to do with us. It has everything to do with Whatnot. Whatnot's the one that works with PayPal, not us. When someone buys from us, it doesn't have anything to do with our PayPal account. Comic Hospice says the tips are so dumb not being in the country of the buyer. So what do you mean by that? Do you mean like that if I tip $5 US in a Canadian show, it's $5 US? Or is it, yeah. Okay. So yeah, so that's also going to change. So when you're in a Canadian show, starting April 15th, if you tip a Canadian, it should be $5 Canadian versus $5 US. So you're going to save a little bit of money if you're a US. You're just going to save a little bit of money. As far as I know, that's the way they're going to do it. So it's going to be in Canadian dollars. So Pac-Man Girl, what US buyers are going to see is what you see. Let me go into a US show, see if I can Oh, I can't on this screen. Let me see. Let me see if it's showing me. So I'm just going to turn down the volume. We're going to go to green 13. Yeah, it's not going to show me on this screen, but what they're going to see is they will see like if I had Canadian $100, then it would be, or yeah, so it would be like when you go into a US show. Yes, we all have US buyers. And I have lots of US buyers and followers. When they come into our show, they're going to see an estimate of what it is in US dollars. So they'll see the first number will be the Canadian dollars and the next number will be in US. And if you notice down below, it says US $99 now instead of it saying just $99 like it used to. Like when I'm in green 13 right now, you can see it just says $28. It's now showing US for us because they've started doing some of the conversion coding that they need to. But the huge conversion coding is going to happen at 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on the 15th. So if you have a show scheduled for during that time, end your show and come back to it. Do a new show afterwards. Give them about an hour and a half to 2 hours to kind of just work through the glitches beforehand. I trust that they're going to do a really great job of it. And it's gonna be a change. But if we want to grow Whatnot Canada, we need to be showing Canadian dollar sales. So again, the how do you know if your customer is from the US or Canada or anywhere else when talking pricing? So Comic Hospi, what you do, this is my suggestion. So let me just see if I can pull up, hang on, green 13. I'm going to just get rid of you for a second. So if, actually, I think I have it. Let's go into my show. Let's add and put in 2 days inactive. Today's schedule, today's lineup. No. CAD. Let's see if that brings up. There we go. Okay, done. So this is yesterday morning's conversion rate, not today's conversion rate. So what you can do is, and on the Discord, I post once a week. I post in the Canadian dollar selling channel. I post what the conversion rate is so that you've got an idea. So what you can do is, yeah, for example, as Mimic says, if it's running for 5 Canadian dollars, what you can do is say, good morning, absolute flipping deals. Good morning, shop with Tasha, Buckeye Girls, Soul Prosper. So what you do is you would say, okay, that's running now for $5. That's approximately $3.52 US. It's running now. That way, if you're not going to know who's American and who's Canadian in the room until you get to know everybody, but you can definitely say, when you're running stuff, just say, all right, starting that now at $5 Canadian, that's about $3.52 American running now. Or you can say about $3.50 American running now. They'll be able to see the conversion rate themselves, but it will also sound like a deal. Remember psychologically that the reason why when you go into most stores, they'll say on sale for $99 from $140 or, was $99, now $79 today only. It's not because they're lessening their margins. It's actually because psychologically you are more willing to pay for something that's on sale or has a lesser price than you are to pay for it. If someone said it's just $99 or it's $79 regular price is $79. Yeah, it's the same. They're going to see what we see when we go into US shows. They're going to see a conversion. Pay Tribute Canada. Can we keep everything at US dollars if we want? No, everybody's going over to Canadian dollars as of 5 a.m. on the 15th. Everyone who's a Canadian seller will be in Canadian dollars starting then. And yeah, it's going to be a little transition, but everything is going to get you, any listings that you already have up are going to get converted to today's, well, not today's, but on the 15th, whatever that dollar value is for Canadian dollar, it'll be converted over that way. Shop with Tasha says, so basically every time we do a show, we need to download a conversion chart. Not necessarily. You can just go to the Discord and look at the one that's for this week. And then you can just say approximately. You're just saying approximately. You're not saying it's absolutely that. The Canadian dollar doesn't fluctuate too much. There's been some dips, but it tends to like bring itself back up to a pretty regular level. So it's probably very close to this right now. Let's ask Alexa. Alexa, what is a Canadian dollar worth in US right now?
$1 Canadian is 71 US cents.
So it's 71 cents. So it's a little bit, this was 70.4824 cents on Monday. So it's gone to 71 cents. So super like minuscule difference. And that's gonna, sometimes it's gonna fluctuate way down and sometimes it's gonna go up, but you can just say it's at that. It's kind of up. It's up from 60 cents. It was at 60 cents for a little bit, which was really fun for me to transfer my US money into Canadian dollars at that moment. But still, Lim Treasures, good morning. Comic Hospy says, but the only reason why we have to say it's Canadian versus US is because the Canadian dollar is lower. Yeah, you don't hear European or UK folks doing that because they don't need to. Because if you live in Europe, if you live in the UK, you're used to purchasing things in like purchasing stuff from Europeans. And so you have kind of grown up in your head with conversion. US buyers typically don't buy much. The US consumer doesn't have that trained in them. They didn't grow up with buying a lot. They have enough to buy in the United States, so conversion is not a normal thing for them. For Canadians, most of us are used to conversion if we've always done a lot of buying in the United States. But yes, definitely in Europe or the UK, they don't do that. I'm suggesting this as a way to help with the transition. You don't have to do it every single time, and you don't have to do it if you don't want to. If someone asks, what is Canadian dollars? What does that mean? Then you could say, but otherwise, I just think it's going to help at the beginning to say, I'm running this for $5. That's about $3.50 US starting now. Boom, 10 seconds on the clock. I think it's going to seem like it feels like a deal to the US. The US market, I think, is going to see a deal. Pac-Man says, but either way, it's the same US buy in US money equal to what the value is in Canadian money. I'm not sure what that means, but I think I understand what you're trying to say. It's not, Jen's Addict Treasure says, I do that every time I buy something, I check the exchange rate. The bonus for someone like Jen's Addict Treasures, who's a buyer, she's a reseller in real life, but she's a buyer on here, is that she doesn't have to do the conversion rate in her head every time she buys something from a Canadian whatnot seller, because she does. Thank you, Jen, by the way, for supporting all of us Canadians. We love you. Angie says it's not just buying for conversion. People that take trips, usually Canada, the US, not many come here. We're trained well. If you did family trips to the United States, you were trained to figure stuff out in like before you went and bought something. Mom would always say, oh no, can't afford that because like that's not $10. That's more like $13. So we're not buying that. That's what I grew up with. Not everybody did. Not the a majority of Canadians don't go very far in their life. I remember when I was a kid and my next door neighbors got married and they went and they lived near Coburg, okay, which is like an hour from the Toronto border. And they traveled to Toronto for their honeymoon, and that was the first time they had been in Toronto, and it was also the last time. They both hated it. But they had never gone very far at all. At all. They'd never actually been in Toronto until they were in their 50s when they had their honeymoon. They were, it was a second marriage for one of them. So Pac-Man Girl, no, it's not less money for us unless you decide you want to sell. So say I'm selling something right now for $10 US and I decide I'm going to sell it for $10 Canadian, then yeah, I'm selling for less dollars. But if I sell for $13 Canadian, which is about $10 US, then I'm not ripping myself off. It's totally up to you where you want to put your start bids at. You don't have to do dollar starts. You could do toonie starts. We could start doing toonie starts instead of loony starts. We can also start saying that. We can say, I'm starting this for a toonie because it will actually be for a toonie. I'm so excited about that. I don't know why I'm excited about that, but I am. Comic Hospice says, so is Whatnot paying me now, and how does that affect the tax slips? Whatnot will, it won't affect the tax slips. Your income is your income. So whatever you, Whatnot's not, Whatnot will pay out as they normally do. It will just go to Stripe now, instead of, if you had PayPal before, it will go through Stripe and it will go in Canadian dollars. Also, Whatnot is giving you kind of a payday. Until the 8th of June, all Canadian sellers who sell are going to get 4%, only 4% commission instead of 8% commission. It's a special deal for us. So sell during this time. Um, so Whatnot, you can, your tax slips will, we don't get T4s or anything like that because we're not an employee. We are sole proprietors, or we have our own business. So you will get a report from Whatnot that you use on your income tax to declare your income. It will show all the information. You can go right now to seller.whatnot.com, go to your financials section, and then you'll see the reports. So Pac-Man Girl says, say that again about percent. So Whatnot currently has a promotion on for Canadian sellers to celebrate these updates that they've made to the Canadian program. From now until the 8th of June, all Canadian sellers will only be charged 4% commission instead of 8% commission. Green Queen says, even if I only make like $1,000, yes, every single, if you sold one thing for $1.50, then you need to declare that's income. Technically you need to declare it. So Lazy Collectibles, I thought it started on the 16th. No, Lazy Collectibles, the promotion is on right now. It's on for 60 days, which already started. They gave us a week's notice, so it's already started, Lazy Collectibles. Read the email. What I have found, folks, and I have to say this very directly, y'all don't read the emails that you get. You just read the first line and you have a freak out and you do not read the rest of the email. You don't read the email. You don't get to the part where there's the FAQ. You don't go all the way down to where they tell you that they're going to be at the card show. You don't go all the way down to where they say, we're also giving you 4% off your commission. Read the email. Just, we're all freaking grown-ups. We need to read our emails. Read the email. The promotion is on until the 8th of June. Read the email. Gen X Hobby says, when you sell items on Whatnot, do I write off what I bought for it? Yeah, absolutely. It's like a business. A business you buy a bunch of cups, that's a business expense. If you sell the cups, that's income. So in, out, in, out. You make up your own chart and work out. Mimic says, I have Siri read it to me. There you go. Get Siri or whatever to read it to you. So is the Whatnot seller's tax in Canadian too? Seller's tax. We already get taxed. We'll get taxed in Canadian dollars, not US dollars. Yes. So we will get taxed as normal but in Canadian dollars. Everything's going to go to Canadian dollars. Ivers, that's not true. Whatnot has many things that they have on their list to do that they haven't fixed, but there's no such thing as zero intent. They listen to us and they have made changes over time. They just have priorities. They're prioritizing certain things, and other things they have on the back burner. Great White Bricks, good morning. Lazy Collectible says, I got the start day of transition from US dollars mix with the commission deal still. So you still got it mixed, Lazy Collectibles, because it's the 15th, not the 16th. So the 6th at 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on the 16th of April, next week, we will convert from US dollars to Canadian dollars. Please read the FAQ. The commission deals already started. Yeah, 15th, not 16th. 15th at 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Ivor says notifications can't find seller now that app is open. Oh, yeah, I've had that happen to me too. I don't know what that bug is, but I keep reporting it as well. Sometimes I have to I think it's my phone, to be honest, on Android. I think it's my phone. Angel Kisses by Jan. Hi. I have an Android. When I go to raid, I only see like 2 people. Where do I go to find a better list? Oh, okay. Yeah. So Angel Kisses by Jan. One of the things that I would suggest to do, and part of collaboration on Whatnot, is, and also it helps you to like be accountable that you're actually going to do your show if you're somebody like me who procrastinates. Um, is look at people that you have within your circle and see if any of them, like, look through your followed house and see if any of them have shows they're going to be on when you end. And then pick one of them and message them and say, just want to check if you're still going to be doing your show. I'd like to raid into you. And then like just just say that, and usually they'll come back and say, oh my god, yes, thank you, that would be awesome, yes, I'm definitely going to do my show, or no, I have to move it because my dog needs to go to the vet or whatever. But at least check in, or you could just, if you don't want to do that, if you don't want to message people, you can just write down a list. I often, when I was doing the shows like twice a day, I would sometimes, if I had time, I would go in and write down some of the Canadians who were going to be on at the same time. And then I would just go through my list and check and see if any of them were actually on. And yes, if you do have a mod, you, as Peacock Jewelry says, they're great for, you can just ask them, can one of my mods please go and check and see if there's someone that we can raid. BT dubs, today we are raiding Mimix55, who is the very first seller on the Whatnot, our unofficial Whatnot, but the True North Strong raid train, which is a Canadian raid train. And if you're interested in getting involved, read the show notes. There's lots to read in the show notes, so read the show notes. Um, Angie, yes, 15th is when we get converted over. Green Queen says, I've been in Canadian dollars for a while now. It feels like they took away more money per sale when I switched Canadian dollars, but maybe a conversion thing. Yeah, they haven't taken away any more money. You're still getting, instead of getting charged 8% US dollars, you're getting charged like, but not now. But your commissions and fees and everything are going to be in Canadian dollars as well as how much you make. How about notifications from people I don't follow? I'd like to block whoever it is using the handwriting font. Just can't read it, don't care. I don't know. My notifications, Ivers, are like very limited. I've turned off all of my other notifications. I only get notifications of shows that I've bookmarked or things that I've saved that are being pinned. Hey, Hobby Habitat and Catch and Repeat. Lucid Aurora, good morning. Good morning. How are you? Pac-Man girl. So if we buy in a US store, we buy in US, we still pay weight. Yeah. We yeah, if you want to buy in the US, if you buy in the US, you're going to be paying in US dollars from a US seller, and you're going to pay US shipping, which is really expensive. Angel Kisses by Jan says, I don't have a mod. I'm small. Yeah. And you know what? When I first started on Whatnot, I felt really nervous about asking someone to be a mod. It's just not in my nature to ask for help. And those of you who know me now know that's really horribly true. So I didn't have mods for the longest time, and I was fine. It was more than fine. And yeah, now the algorithm used to give you, like, if you just typed raid and you waited, it would give you a whole bunch of people to choose from, and now it might give you one or two. I It's on my wish list, and it sounds like it's on some of your wish lists too, to have more recommendations than just one or two people. I think they're trying to really narrow it down based on who you have in your room at the time, which I think is pretty cool, but they're narrowing it too much. Green Queen says, I've been waiting for a Canadian raid train. Green Queen, we've been doing it since, when did we first start it? December, January? January. But there's also other raid trains, tons of other raid trains that are Canadian run raid trains that have lots of Canadians on them. This is the only raid train that's Canadian only. And like every year on July 1st, Magical A and Boss Majora do an awesome raid train that is nonstop giveaway, coast to coast to coast. It's a lot of fun. Ivor says 90% of my buyers will now click in and see a higher number than before. Whatnot is not helping Canada. But Ivers, they're gonna see like $100 for your $100 Canadian for your shirt, and then they're gonna see that that's like $71 US. They're gonna see. They've told us that they will see the conversion, so it's gonna show 100 and 71. So they're gonna see 71. So They are going to see that bargain. And I think psychologically, they're going to see that as a bargain. Oh, it's 100. Oh, no, wait, it's only 71. Oh my God, that's great. Boom, boom, boom. I think that's going to be I think it's going to be an advantage. Psychologically, it's going to work the same as stores that have their discounts. In people's brains, it's going to, if they're not smart, I'm not sorry. If they're not used to if they're not used to conversion rates, it's going to look like a discount. Junk Rescue Hut, good morning. Alex, good morning. Angie's this and that. Do you think some sellers will leave the app because of the change? Yeah, Angie, people rage quit stuff all the time for like silly reasons. Like you took away stories, you did this, you did that, and like they have a fit. Why does it sound like someone's at my door? Go away, whoever you are. You're gonna get eaten by my dog. It's an adventure having a dog. Okay. Yes, I think some people are gonna rage quit. Yeah, absolutely. As far as I'm concerned, if this is all it takes for you to leave the app, I wish you well. I wish you well. I highly suggest that you diversify your portfolio of the platforms that you use, and that whatnot be part of the eggs in your basket. Do not just put one egg in your basket. Put multiple eggs in your basket. She says as she does it. She does not do that. I have like 3 things on eBay, and then I have a booth. That's it. Ivor's Basement says 250 US dollars or 400 Canadian dollars. What number do you want 90% of app users to see? I want them to see $400 and then 250 US. I want them to see that discount. Canadian sellers, yeah, are Canadian sellers who aren't understanding of the conversion going to be like, wait, you used to sell t-shirts at $100 and now it's like $130. What's up with that? Some people, again, are not used to conversion and they might need a little bit of education at first, but I think once they get used to it, I know that there's a lot of people who buy off of US shows, and then they get their credit card and they have a fit and they're like, I only paid $100, but it's like $140 on my credit card. What's up with that? Conversion rates, people. Conversion rates. PT Media says, I don't understand, why would they leave? Some people just leave for any reason. Lucid Aurora says, without PayPal, we may lose a lot of buyers. I use PayPal to pay for everything. I don't like my cards on apps. I totally understand that, Lucid Aurora. You could switch to Google Pay or Apple Pay, and then the app is not seeing your credit card information. They're just getting Google Pay. You can always do that, or Apple Pay. There's all kinds of different options that you could use instead. We don't have Venmo or PayPal. That's Venmo's not available in Canada anyways, and then PayPal is going to be eliminated. But you could use Google Pay or Apple Pay, or Angie has bought a refillable, a reloadable card. I think you said it was from Coho, and so she just uses that. So she only puts in what she wants to spend, and then she knows that no one's going to steal that credit card and use it for other things. So I mean, nothing has ever happened. I've used my credit card for 2.5 years on this app and nothing's happened. But yeah, if you're worried about that, use Apple Pay or Google Pay, or buy yourself a reloadable credit card. Great White Bricks asks, will they see the conversion on Android? According to the FAQ, it says that they will see the conversion, which to me says they will see the conversion on everything. They didn't say not on, they didn't specify iOS and web only. So hopefully, yes, hopefully this update will include conversion rates, because otherwise, yeah, that's going to be an issue. And a lot of people will be complaining to Whatnot. If you want to practice how to contact Whatnot, there is, up in my show notes, there are instructions. If you scroll down, there are instructions on how to contact Whatnot using the app. Pac-Man Girl says, please follow and come check out my own art I created on April 18th. Pac-Man Girl has a show. Go check her out. That's like, sounds like a lot of fun. She's also working on a rooster painting, so you might want to compete with me for that one. I know, Ivers, I love you. I love you. Junk Rescue Hut says, does Whatnot have a limit on how much you can make before you have to turn your earnings in on your taxes? Junk Rescue Hut, as far as I'm aware, in all countries, you are required to take that information and put it on your taxes no matter how much you make, whether it's 50 cents or 50,000, as far as I know. But I don't know American tax law. And in Canada, income is income is income. Just put it in. Make sure that you take off, when you put in your income, you also have to take off your business expenses. So oftentimes your business expenses will wipe out your income and then it's a negative figure. If you're like me, hi, my name is Kim, and I probably spend way more than I earn because I'm too busy chatting with you guys to actually do any sales. And speaking of which, I'm supposed to be wrapping right now. Yo, 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 I'm supposed to be wrapping stuff. So Comic Hospi, there's no conversion rate in the bin. Will that be changed? Yeah, every item should have a conversion rate to it, according to Whatnot. Yes, rage quit. I hear it all the time. How many of you are on any of those Facebook groups where people come on and say, I just did my third show and nothing happened and it's not working and nobody came in and nobody's buying and nobody's saying anything. And so I'm just leaving. That's it. This app sucks. And it's like, okay, I'm sorry, but if you're not going to try and it's your third show and that's like your, like, I'm giving this 3 shows and then I give up, then Whatnot's not for you. A goodbye. Find somewhere else. Static listings are probably good for you. Green Queen, when did the tariffs start? I have like a big US order coming soon. I didn't think about tariffs. Okay. So the tariffs are on certain things and not on other things. So if you want to like try and figure it out, you could go to the Canadian Border Service Agency website and type in what it is that you have and see what the tariffs that you've ordered. Anything over $30 Canadian is going to get taxes and duties no matter what. So you're probably going to have taxes and duties. And if there are any tariffs, those will be added on too. But the tariffs aren't a blanket on everything coming from the US, but it is another reason to buy Canadian. As I mean, I am so shocked, but not shocked that yet again, for the third gleaming time, I'm going to do tariffs. There's going to be tariffs. Oh, I changed my mind. There's no longer tariffs. If you look at my Instagram, I have shared a story. He was in the White House yesterday. Charles Schwab, somebody from Charles Schwab was there. I don't know if it was actually Charles Schwab because I think he's dead. Anyways, and the president was like introducing people and being like, "Hey, this guy's Charles Schwab and he just made $900 million today because of what I just did." Ha ha ha. He put on his Truth Social 15 minutes before he announced that the tariffs were being lifted. On his Truth Social, he put in capital letters, "This is a good time to buy," or something like that. You should buy. 15 minutes beforehand. He warned the market and his people 15 minutes before he took off those tariffs that he was about to do it by saying, you should buy now. Go buy. Buy things now. Now, I'm glad that my husband sold his house and we have all that money sitting in an account right now. I'm so glad that we were going to go immediately and invest it. And I'm so glad that we didn't do that. But he's going to do this to us again and again and again because he's making his friends money because they buy when it's low and they sell when it's high. And this bouncing up and down is making a lot of people money. Angie says a lot of people will leave the app and then they'll figure out that Whatnot has the best rates. Yeah. 8% commission, 2.9% payment processing fee, 30-cent payment processing fee. I have yet to find an app that can beat that. And she says she hopes that they come back and grow our Canadian peeps. Some people will stay and some people will leave. And Hodgepodge Place yesterday did an awesome little mini rant on her show where she was like, you know what? There are people who are just not, basically, they're not trying. They're not trying. They want everything spoon fed to them. And this app is about figuring out and working. So go read stuff, go into shows, learn from shows, but go read the documentation and watch the videos that Whatnot gives. I saw someone on Facebook who put I'm going to be on my soapbox right now. Someone on Facebook put a message and said, I just did my first show, but I don't know how to do the shipping. Where do I get my money to buy my labels? I need to know what the people's addresses are so I can ship the stuff to them. They already had been approved to do a show and they didn't know how shipping worked. The basics of like go into the seller.whatnot.com, find the information on the person, pack it up, put the dimensions and weight, press generate label. Ta-da, you've got a label. Even they didn't even watch that basic information. Ivor says, how many Canadian daily users? I don't know. I'm asking how many people using daily in US? Tons. I can't eat to move to I can't you is that wait to move to a normal country that thinks? Is there such a thing? Ivor, seriously, is there such a thing as a normal country that thinks? The majority of the human beings do not what's called orthofunction, which is perform at our maximum abilities. There are very few human beings on this earth who perform at their maximum abilities. The rest of us are saving our energy and our brain cells for running away from the tiger. So we don't perform at our maximum abilities at all time, including thinking, physically and mentally. PT Media says if Canadians do not already know the conversion, they'll learn fast. Yeah. If they already don't know, I mean, I have seen people who say I bought in a show and I thought it was just $100 and then it turned into $140 and they complain and I'm like, it said US. It was obvious. Peacock Jewelry says I don't want to diversify. Me neither. I will just work and wait to be more successful and whatnot. Peacock Jewelry does amazing jewelry. You got to check out her shows. Pac-Man Girl says, but anything 50 and other, if they put in on a box, it's a gift, you don't pay duty. Yes, but if it's not a gift, that's illegal and that's not a good idea. So don't ship things saying it's a gift. And even so, even if it is a gift, they sometimes will still do it. If it's pushing the limit of 50, they will sometimes do that. You can, if you're a Canadian and you have to pay duties and taxes, you have three options. You can refuse the item and send it back. I think you have four options. You can refuse the item and send it back. You can pay the duty and taxes, take the stuff home, fill in the form online and ask for an appeal. Or no, there are three options. Or you can ask at the post office where they're asking you to pay the money. You tell them that you want to send it back to Canadian Border Services Agency, and then they will initiate an appeal and send you an email. Iris Basin says, I'll never use Google Pay or Apple Pay. Okay, don't. Pac-Man Girl says, I deal with Coho too. There you go. Yeah. Yeah, Little Squirrel says maybe a prepaid credit card would work. Yeah. Green Queen says, I love Coho. They have good cash back. Oh, I didn't know that. Iris says, I've also never had a credit card. I'm 45. You don't need one. How do you go like traveling? Do you pay cash for everything? Like, because a lot of places now, all the hotels and stuff, they now refuse to do the good old fashioned cash thing. I used to do that when I was younger and didn't want to fill up my credit card with all those hotel holds. When I used to travel for work, I would do a 2-week stint across like the West Coast or like across Western Canada, I should say, or I'd be going through Eastern Canada for 2 weeks. And the number of hotel holds that would be stuck on the credit card would actually totally fill up the credit card. It was a pain in the butt. Sassy, the sassy vintage chick is in the house. Good morning, Sassy. How are you? Everyone follow the sassy vintage chick, the beautiful, the wonderful sassy vintage chick. Comic Cosby says, what about the buy it now? Will there be a conversion rate? Right now, there isn't. As far as I know, yes, there will be a conversion rate on it all. That's what the Q&A, the FAQ. That's there's a link in your in the email that you received, but you can also go up to my show notes and just go to help.whatnot.com and then search for CAD FAQ, and you'll see the whole FAQ. PT Media says there are no tariffs for Canadians on jewelry. It's just only on steel, aluminum, car stuff. We do not get hit by the 10%. Yeah, most things. There are some weird things like stamps, collectible stamps for some reason suddenly have a higher tariff or some higher duty. I don't know. It's weird, but stamps. Stamp collectors are complaining about purchases from the US being really expensive right now. So Comic Hospi is saying, when I click on your profile, prices are in US dollars in your bin on price and no conversion. Yes, right now. As of the 15th of um, April. 15th of April. Then things will be converted over to Canadian dollars, and there should be a US dollar that a US person will see the conversion rate for. Ivers, I love you. Lori Jean says, if you start to sell on Whatnot, do you have to register with the government that you are a business? Lori Jean, that depends on where you live and the rules. Some states do have rules for resellers, and they do have requirements for registering. You technically, Whatnot says you are required to follow the rules and guidelines of where you live. So and there are some counties too that require it. If you're gonna, now there are some rules about auctioning, but most auctioneer associations have not tried to go after Whatnot sellers for using the auction method. But technically, that's an issue. But we're just kind of letting it go right now, from what I can tell. I did talk to a few US auctioneers associations to learn more about that. That was back in about almost a year ago now. I looked into that. Fascinating talking to all the auctioneer associations, because we all pretty much feel the same way when you're an auctioneer. But so you may need to register as a business. However, I think the US has something similar to Canada where you can be like a sole proprietor. And so, but you do have to declare your income. But if your spending matches your income, then, it's $0 income. Just depends. Ivor says in Canada it's 30K. You do not have to submit that into. Okay, 30K, that's for HST, GST number. You still, Ivors, if you're making money, it's income. It should be on the other income line on your taxes. Pacman says she's going to do me and the rooster both, and your glasses too. Oh my gosh, it's so exciting. I'm very excited. I can't wait to buy it. Great White Brick says they're usually amazing with contact. I've never had an issue contacting Whatnot. Yeah, as long as you're polite and clear in your message. Sometimes I will get like a response back and I'm like, come on, did you read? So I'll just say, hey, sorry, like I'm on the road. I can't answer that again. It's up. Like, can you read the rest of my message from previous? And yeah. Absolute Flipping Tail says, I also have an American cell phone from Cricket that cost me $12 a month so I can accept payments from the V word. Oh, that I used to have a US number. I got rid of it because it wasn't worth the money. Junk Rescue Hut says, is there a charge for tying your Whatnot in with Stripe for taxes? And no, as far as I know, that is a free service from Whatnot using Stripe for those US sellers who need to get their tax information. If you go to your financials on seller.whatnot.com and you go to your financials, it'll give you the information link to get your 1099K form. Your income tax forms are the most convoluted, ridiculous things I've ever seen in my life. If you get a chance ever, go look at a Canadian form. It is so freaking simple. It is so simple. Your US forms, I swear, even if you had a master's degree in economics and a PhD in like calculus or something, you'd still have trouble. Passive income can be optional to claim. Okay, I'm not saying that's true. Ivers is yelling that you do not have to do this in Canada. There's a vet in Ontario under 30K does not need to be reported by a reseller. Well, that would be nice if that was true, but I would definitely get that checked by a tax person, because I have always claimed no matter what. My outcome, my incoming is never as good as my outgoing, so I'm never in a boat where I need to pay taxes because I just keep buying more inventory. Half of my sales are bin bundles. Yeah, Comic Hospi is going to switch over. So they have said it's going to switch over. Sassy Vintage Chick says, "Dear God, I just fixed shipping for people on Facebook." Did you? Did you actually? Did you? By telling them to like just read what Whatnot has already written and like watch the videos that Whatnot's already done. The sassy vintage chick and I sassy goes in and tries to like help people, and then she gets yelled at for telling people to go to Whatnot to learn what they're supposed to learn. As Sassy, were you in Haji's show where she was like, okay, like make it like take it to an 8? Is it at a level 8? Otherwise, go find out the information yourself. Go read what you need to read. I mean, last night there was a seller who was new who was having some trouble, and it was not something that she was going to be able to read to figure it out because it was something technical, one little glitchy thing that she had done that had caused a bunch of trouble. But I managed to help her figure it out. But most of the time, you're going to find the answer. You're going to find the answer to your questions not on Reddit, not on Facebook. You're going to find them at help.whatnot.com or selleracademy.whatnot.com. Oh, Absolute Flipping Deal says so I could use my American phone number and Whatnot, and it will just yeah, I guess you could check after April 15th. You could sign on with your American phone number, and because you are allowed to have another account, just as long as you're not doing price fixing between yourselves or anything. Ivers, I don't know. They keep electing those people. That's why they keep listening to them. Peacock Joey says, I'm happy if I just have a few people in my show listening to my old stories about my dog. Sometimes that's enough. I love you. Great White Brick says, CRA says to claim any and all income. Yeah. Green Queen says, took me a few shows and also hopping into other people's shows and making purchases to get my people in my show. Sometimes that's what it takes. Otherwise, I think you don't need to make purchases necessarily. Just go into shows, say hi, collaborate, get on our raid trains. That will also help to yeah, Zoe's Treasure says, Lori Jean, you don't need to incorporate, you don't need to have an LLC. If I ever do end up, in 2029 or something, if I ever end up doing a US junket, I will create an LLC just to cover myself with two hands in a picnic basket. Supposedly Iowa and Wyoming are great places to make a LLC. And then you just you pay for a representative every year to represent you in that state. Oh my goodness, Ivers, you're getting way too Alberta on us right now. You're getting way too Alberta. You're going to secede soon. All right. Okay, I'm gonna skip down a bit. So if I don't, where's onboarding? Good question. Okay, I'm skipping a bunch. Oh, good. Houston BLA says, please stop saying Canadians do not have to declare income under 30. The reference is to GST chargeable. If you must declare all income. Lawyer here. Yes, absolutely. A human says, change everything 359 times a year. It'd be totally. Ivers. Houston BLA. A batch. Is that your BLA? Is that the bachelor's thing? My first husband, ex-husband is a lawyer. Went to Dalhousie, lucked out. That's a long story. So it's God, who's doing that? It's Pac-Man Girl. Pac-Man Girl is doing a rooster painting. I'm so excited. Comic Hospital says, I just looked at a UK seller shop and all the prices are in UK. There's no conversion underneath. I am unsure, to be honest. Comic Hospital, it says in the information that that they're going to show conversion rates. So I'm hoping it's true. In Canada, you do not have to incorporate. That's correct. And you don't have to incorporate in the US. If you're a Canadian that's going to go into the US and start a US company, I suggest getting an LLC, but that's only for your like a separate business. And that would be only if I actually go do that. I have it in the plan, but then somebody else got elected. So I've put it on hold for now. Pac-Man Girl says, Whatnot takes a while to respond. Yes. Sometimes, but it's usually about 2 days or less. They've been really good, actually. Relove by Maisie. Yes, we've been talking about the changes all morning. And by the way, now is the time. I'm going to be skipping ahead in the chat. So if I miss anything, let me know. Ship My Card says you have to register as a business if you're in Canada to sell and whatnot. No, you do not. You can be a sole proprietor. Yeah, if you're under 30K, you claim the income, but once you are over 30K, you need to get an HST GST number. Mama's Drama Boutique says, I collect tax for my registered business, so I had to request a form from Whatnot. It's called a GST 506 pre-election form. Ooh, that sounds fancy. That sounds fancy. Houston says LLCs and incorporation are big pains in the butt. Yes, I will definitely think 20 times, 1,000 times over. I've already figured out which company I'm going to use, and I've already picked Wyoming. I decided on Wyoming, but I will research again before I actually do it. But that's going to be in 2029 because I'm not doing anything in the US until then. Okay, all right. I'm going to skip. Really need my favorite colors. My favorite colors are blue, but then anything else, to be honest, Pac-Man Girl. What Relove by Maisie says, Whatnot is going to pop off in Canada. I have a few. It's gonna explode. It is gonna explode. Cost of doing business, including shipping, even parts of home and utilities you use when you're running. Yes. And Houston, I had a friend who was a CPA, and he he got he worked from home, and he had a whole section, like the basement was all files, and he had sections of upstairs where he worked, and he had it all figured out, and he looked into the cost of getting a security system at the house, and then he wanted a dog, so he got a guard dog as a pet, and then charged that on his taxes. I don't recommend this, but he so he got a dog. And so the poo baggies, the dog food, the dog toys, the everything. Declare income / write off all expenses. Do not start charging HST until you have to. That's only over 30. Yes. And Jen's Attic Treasure says, just remember all your tax write-offs, not just purchasing inventory, office supplies, gas to pick up the supplies, a percentage of your utilities. Yeah, I have a chart that I keep of all my, because I go on thrift hunts. And so I'm driving a lot, so I keep a record of the gas that I used up, the percentage of my oil changes, and then I also the mileage. So it depends on. I thrift everything, Houston. I thrift everything. I'll be on for an hour later today on the True North Strong Rain Trade, which is starting in 15 minutes, by the way. So, Mama's Drama Boutique says, I wish the early payout requirements were less. I feel like 1,000 items will take forever. It actually won't. If you're consistent, if you did if you only did 10 sales a week, then yeah, it's going to take a while, right? That's going to be 100 weeks. But if you're consistent in your shows, then thank you, Journeying to Morningstar. These are my red glasses. I just got them in. So I had to put them on because it's the True North Strong Raid Train today. Pac-Man Girl says you can write off pretty much everything your first year. You can write off anything that's legitimately part of your business as a business expense for the rest of it for eternity. Pac-Man Girl says, I've been a seller for 2 months and I've sold 45 items. That's awesome. Yeah, you just have to keep receipts and you have to keep records. I got used to it when my dad was a kid. When I was a kid, my dad used to have a little notepad because he always liked to know the mileage that the vehicles were getting back in the day before they told you that. He would have a little notepad in the van in the car. So there was a little glove box section, and there was and he would put his little notepad there. And every time he filled up the tank, he would write down how many gallons he had put in and also what the miles were on the car, because I'm that old. Kim's Bookshelf. Hey, I do 2 shows a week and I'm less than 100 book sales away from 1,000. You started off in February. That is awesome. Congratulations. Yes. So CRA will do occasional checks. They will randomly pull, and they could randomly pull you, or they could pull you just because it flags something in the computer. Remember, the computer is looking first. So a robot is looking in to see whether anything looks weird. And then they flag a human, but then they also randomly pull. Yes, and Pac-Man Girl says, remember, don't send in any receipts or documents when doing taxes in Canada. You keep all your receipts and information, and you just send in the forms that you are required to. Green Queen says, I sell single Pokemon cards, so my sales are already at 224. I've only had like 4 or 5 shows. That's awesome. Pokemon for the win. Okay, so we are 13 minutes away from raiding into Mimics 55 at the start of the True North Strong raid train. So everybody share where you're from and share what you sell so we can follow you and tell us what show you have coming up next so we can bookmark. So we will do that for the next 13 minutes. I will read off that. Like, I think Ivers was the one that pointed out that it sounds like I'm on Polka Dot Door, but I will read out that. So everyone share where they're from and what they sell. And I know it takes some time to write that out. So hi, I'm Kim. I'm the Red Rooster. I'm in just outside of Hastings, Ontario, Canada. If you are a US person, if you look at a map of New York State and you find Rochester Dinette Center, and you draw a line straight up, you will almost hit my house. And I sell just about everything. I specialize in Canadian pottery because I'm kind of obsessed with it. But I sell just about everything else that your grandma or grandpa or great aunt had in their house, and then other weird and wonderful things too. I'm also an auctioneer. So I do auctioneer stuff as well in my spare time. Green Queen is Ontario, Canada. Pokemon cards and Disney stuff. Ooh, some Loungefly is coming soon. Loungefly is hot stuff. Trent's Arts Thrift Shop. Hello, how are you? Jan's Attic Treasure says, yep, and I buy it from her. Yes, you do. Which reminds me, after this, when we go into Mimics, then I'm going to be rapping. Angel Kisses by Jan says today at 2:55 Central, Vintage and Household. Nana Stacy's Treasures. Hello, I'm in Oregon. I have vintage decor, and oh, it's moving so fast. And Mondays and Fridays at vintage decor Mondays and Fridays at 10 a.m. Pacific time. Ooh. Melinda's Time Capsule. Hi, how are you? Pennsylvania, USA. I love the emojis. Tonight, Vintage Decor at 4 p.m. Eastern. 30 shows in 30 days challenge. That's exciting. I'm so excited. Hired Settled Soul. Good morning. How are you? US seller of vintage decor and more. Join me soon. So follow and bookmark. Angie's This and That is from Listowel, Ontario. That's how you say it. It's not List Towel. It's Listowel, Ontario. And she sells a little of everything and more. She's got amazing clothing, family clothing, and jewelry. You got to check it out. Houston BLA says, if you use a room in your house for a business, have 10 rooms, 1/10 of all house expenses are written off against your selling income. Yes. And Houston, if anybody came to my house right now, they would see that every single room in my house is full of inventory. It's actually really bad. So I've got an entire house to write off. There's even outside. It spills out to the outside. I have 2 vans that we don't use because they're filled with inventory. I need help. Just need to sell. That's what I need to do. Shop with Tasha says Oshawa, Ontario sells jewelry, books, clothes, home decor, and everything else. Book show tonight at 8:15 Eastern. Awesome. Stamp pickers. Good morning, everyone. Nanaimo, BC. Corey is awesome, by the way, everyone. Buy, sells, stamps, postal history, philatelic. I try to say it every time, and you're kind enough to like take that off and say postal history for me. Higher end antiques and collectibles, cards, both sports and non-sports cards show later. Woo! Sandpicker says, hope everyone has an incredible day too. I love you. Team Goofy, hi! 65 away from 1,000 stickers tonight. Good for you, Team Goofy. That's awesome. Comic Hospy says, I'm in the 6. Tirana. I sell a vintage comic books. Yay! Awesome. Pac-Man Girl. At 11:05 a.m. in Toronto, Ontario, I sell collectibles and variety of stuff. A deal this morning, 2 to 3 items for $15 flat, no matter how big or small. Ooh, good morning, Marcus. Kim's Bookshelf. I'm in Maryland, USA. I love Maryland. It's so pretty there. I sell books on Thursday and Saturday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern. Go check that out. Books are awesome. Oh, thank you for the purchase. or the gift you randomly gifted. Thank you for the random gift. I will catch up. Good morning, Nuria. Um, Jen's Addict Treasure says, Angie's This and That has great selection of items at bargain prices. Make sure to follow. Yes, very true. Good morning, Vintiquity. How are you? Peacock Jewelry. Small items today. Mini cute stuff, trinket boxes, salt and pepper shakers, etc. Thank you. Hello, Felony Funko. Thank you so much, Kim's Bookshelf, for doing a random gift to Vintiquity. Yay! Angie's This and That says, I'm also working on setting up a family fashion and shoes raid train, hope for the end of May. So if you're interested in getting in on a family fashion, so that's men's, women's, kids, and shoes raid train, message Angie's This and That to get involved. Have fun, Pac-Man girl. Good luck. I hope it's a wonderful day for you. Vintiqui says, my first birthday gift. Is it your birthday today? Is it your birthday? I want to know. Is it your birthday? Everyone's having birthdays. This is like April Palooza. Angie's and that says there are so many great sellers on here. Yes, there are. Thrift Star, what's up? We're introducing ourselves right now, so if you want to get some follows, introduce yourself. Sandpicker says she's the one who knows how to say it. I really love the new glass. Thank you. I got red ones for, the Canada show. Oh, Vintiquity says, come to my True North Strong birthday show at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Yay! Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Nuria. Happy birthday to you. Are you 1? Are you 2? Are you 3? Are you 4? Are you 5? Are you 6? Are you 7? Are you 8? 9? 10? 11? 12? I'm going to go for a while. No. 29 forever. Peacock Jewelry says show today at 12:30. All kinds of stuff. Mini Madness. Ooh. Happy birthday, Vintiquity. Isn't it awesome how we get to have birthdays and hang out with our friends on here at the same time? 5 Acres. Good morning. How are you? We're doing the share who we are and where we're from right now. And also Vintiquity's birthday is today. So we're celebrating that as well. Will there be cake? Will there be cake, Vintiquity? Are you going to let them eat cake? Peacock needs to know now. Thrift Star says, hi, I'm Amy, and I resell all clothing, toys, whatever else I can find while thrifting. Check out the Buy It Now. Yes. Everyone follow Thrift Store. Awesome. Good morning, everyone. Okay, we have 6 more minutes, and then we're going to be raiding into Mimics. The lineup for the True North Strong Raid Train is so exciting. We have so many great sellers, and I'm actually going to be selling in one of my raid trains today. Well, we got like Border City Thrifts. Who else do we have? Let's see. Let me read it off. We have Mimics 55. Vintiquity is on after that. NS Coastal Closet. Border City Thrifts is going to be on after that. Then me. Time Hop Treasures, Elga's Bazaar, Melody Crone, Mamarazzi. Am I saying that right? I hope I'm saying that right, Melody. Mamarazzi Finds, Retrocity Collectibles. Yay! Border City. Look at that. We're just going through the list. And then the Thrifty Retrocity Collectibles and then the Thrifty Fox Shop is our caboose this month. So we do this raid train every 10th of the month. And we've been doing it since January. And it's just meant as a way for us to unite together as Canadian sellers. It's the only raid train I do where it's only Canadian sellers. I do 2 other raid trains and they're open to everyone around the world. This one's just Canadian sellers. So it's kind of fun to go into Canadian shows, wherever you're from in the world, and just check out the different things that we have to offer. It's all categories. So you could go into a clothing show and next thing you know, you're learning about stamps from Corey, and then you're going to go into an antique show, and then Vintiquity, when I first saw it, I said, it is when they first came into my show, I said, is it Retro City or is it Retrocity? And they said it's Retrocity. So it's supposed to be like Retro City, but Retrocity, it's kind of like hey, Jenny Lou, how are you? Share where you're from and what you sell. Shop with Tasha says, I better get on this raid train. Yes. So the information on how to sign up for the months ahead is up in my show notes. And I think also if you use the QR code, I do have it in my free resources list. It's on there too. There should be a link to get to that. I think I've added now thrift to gift and that True North Strong raid train. Yes, Border City Thrifts, you're raiding into me at 3 p.m. Thanks for coming on. Everyone, please bookmark Border City Thrifts show today because they have been very kind to come and step in at the last minute to fill in a spot for someone who's unable to do their show. So I really, really appreciate you for coming in to help out because we had a couple of people who weren't able to do their shows for personal emergencies. Absolute Flipping Deal says, so I actually had to work after I asked my question about US cell phones. So if you answered rude work. So yeah, technically you could set up another account with that phone number and have it set for a US address. And then you would definitely be able to see those things. The important thing is to never use your secondary accounts as in your own shows for like bidding and that sort of thing. That is against the rules. That is very much against the rules, and you will immediately get banned if you're a seller. Graysky, good morning. How are you? Okay, so stamp pickers, Tammy G, kiddo to school, taking your kiddo to school. So have an amazing day, everyone. See you on my show later, possibly yours. Love you, Corey. Have a great day. Bye, stamp pickers. Border City Thrift says, I have to work later in the evening and all the day spots were taken when I checked. So glad I got an early spot. Yay! I'm glad too. I'm very excited. Okay, we've got 2 minutes. So last chance to share your shows or get some follows by telling people about who you are and what you sell. And then we are going to raid into the wonderful, amazing mimics. So I'm going to type it in now. I'm not going to go early. One of the things, there we go. One of the things that I want to say is if you're ever on a raid train and you're scheduled to go, you're supposed to end at 11, like I am. And, but you see that the person is on early. That doesn't mean you should go in early unless you've already made that arrangement. It won't let me copy the link to sign up for the raid train. Could someone post it in the chat? Yeah, hang on. Oh, Jenny Lou is in West Tennessee. I assume that means storage unit finds. That's so exciting. Okay, so it is bit.ly slash whatnot Canada, just like that. With the capital letters on the WNC. So just like that. Bit.ly WNC capital Canada. And that will get you to the True North Strong raid train. And then we also have for the Discord, which everyone's welcome no matter where they're from in the world. We also have a Discord, and that's the short. I use Bitly a lot because it's so much easier to say that than like a big long string, right? So make sure that everything is lowercase on the Discord part. That's really important. All right, it's 11 o'clock. You know what that means. We are going to raid into the True North Strong raid train. We're going to start with Mimics 55. We're going to Toronto. So we're not going very far. We're going about 2 hours west of me. And so we're going to go there. Let's blast the chat with emojis, the emoji of your choice. If you're a Canadian flag would be awesome. All right. Love you guys so